Hey folks, welcome to Good Chats. I've just got a bit of lighting set up to do here. Welcome aboard, Justin. Welcome aboard. Luke's fishing from the land of vast wilderness and freedom and crocs. Welcome, Steve. Thanks for coming on board. G'day, Dave. And g'day, Luggy111. Yes, we're back again for Good Chats 1, 2, 3. There's something weird going on with my lighting here. I don't know what I'm doing all of a sudden. I've just got to work that out. Give me a sec. Maybe I just have to do something like that. I don't know. I also just had to water the Good Chats plant down there, which gets a water every week. Actually, it looks like the lighting's coming through okay. G'day, Bruce. Welcome aboard. I know I always say this, but just a short one tonight. Got a few things to go through. Had a trip to Coffs Harbour, which I got back, an overnight trip to Coffs Harbour on Monday and Tuesday. And I caught up with the peeps from the library there, and I caught up with Noel as well. G'day, JK, how you going? Also, what else I want to talk about? I want to talk a bit about the Overland. For those of you who don't follow me on Facebook, if you don't, then go over there and check that out as well. I will sometimes share posts which sometimes are a little opinionated, but hey, that's the that's the way to go. No, I did not go to Coffs Harbour by train. There's not possible to do an overnight trip to Coffs Harbour by train, sadly. I flew Qantas, which was great. But I was back here in Adelaide about 28 hours later. Just a short trip for a family funeral. But while I was there, I fit in a trip to the library and caught up with some family as well. So I've got some things to share from there, particularly a book of the week as well. And we can talk about the Overland video that I did, because I do have some skin in the game when I throw some shade at the Overland train. So perhaps I should show that video as well. Picked up an article on the Tallerwood Ventures, or otherwise known as the Glenray Mountain Railway, from the Coffs Coast newspaper. Believe it or not, there is a newspaper still in Coffs Harbour, even though the Advocate's long gone digital. The Coffs Coast News of the area has taken up the printed media mantle. Then we'll talk about the book of the week, which I picked up at Coffs Harbour Library. Very fortuitous. So there's who have I said? I said there's Justin, Jeremy, Bruce, There's 16 people out there watching as well. Probably some of you might be new subscribers and wondering what the hell this is all about. This is just good chats. It's just me practicing live streams every Wednesday night at 8:15 p.m. And just when I learn a new thing, I try and learn another thing and stuff it all up. But hey, that's part of the fun. Yes, maybe I should put that up with like different windows, like the square window and the round window and the triangle window. But let's have a look later on at what's behind the magic window. But I shared that post on Facebook, and I'll bring it up again. Let's see if I can find it here. So let's share that screen. I'll work that out. Find the right window. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. I love these guys. Oh, look, the window's not quite aligned. That's not good. How do I work that out? Let's see if we do that, y'all. Transition that over. Okay, that's a bit more in the middle there now. We'll try it again, JK. I haven't done anything to it, but I'm just hoping it's kind of a glitch that can be rectified. I'll just see if it's in the slideshow off screen here still. Yeah, they are still in the slideshow from last week, so we'll see if that can go ahead without the stuff-ups. But I was reminded with this post here from Journey Beyond Rail, talking about how delicious afternoon tea would be on the overland, and I thought it's a little bit of a I don't know, somewhat misleading, I think, because the fact of the matter is that the train leaves at 7 a.m. And it sometimes doesn't get to Melbourne if there's delays until well after dinner time. And so, you know, my experience of it might look interesting, but certainly this thing is a heritage railway journey only. And I think, as I said to you, JK, and I don't know whether you know now, I'll ask you here on the stream, hey, these carriages are like 50 or 60 years old that they've been refurbishing endlessly. And I'm pretty sure that there's heritage railways out there running heritage trains with carriages that are probably younger than what they're currently charging people to travel on the overland. And so it's a train with an identity crisis, right? For us Adelaideans, it's an experience train. It's a train that you go to enjoy watching wheat fields go past endlessly, and it is a tourist train, essentially. But by the time it crosses the Victorian border, it's subsidised by the government and essentially becomes public transport, which I find really interesting, because the overland wouldn't run to Adelaide if it wasn't for the Victorians subsidising the public transport aspect of it. So in some ways, you know, I guess the Journey Beyond is still making a bit of money out of it, but it's all coming out of exceptionally excessive, I would imagine, government subsidies. I'll qualify that by saying I would imagine, but happy to be clarified on that one. So yeah, the experience was a little bit austere. I actually didn't. This was in 2019 when we travelled on the train. I didn't actually feel very welcome on the train. I think I was probably at that stage about 15 years below their target market, and yeah, it was only once we were in Victoria that you started seeing younger people jumping onto the train, travelling from country Victoria to Melbourne. So yeah, it was such a slow journey as well. So if you are planning on going on the overland and having breakfast on the overland, then make sure you have breakfast before you leave your house to go on the overland. So it's 7 a.m. in the morning that it leaves, right? And they want you to be there at least 45 minutes beforehand. So you're leaving home at bloody 5:30 in the morning from your home in Adelaide. Make sure you have breakfast before you go, because you won't get breakfast served to you on the train until 9 o'clock. Which is kind of the distance between breakfast and lunch for most human beings. And so to say we were pretty hangry by the time breakfast got served was a bit of an understatement. And it's a bit sad, really a bit sad. Anyway, I'll transition over to the video, which was in the magic window before. I'll see if I can get that thing to work. We get the sound up on it. This was one of my first YouTube videos, actually, to be honest. One of my first serious attempts at one, anyway. Hello to all the other viewers that have joined us in the last few minutes as well. Thanks for getting on board. Passenger train to Melbourne. One of its last journeys as it's due to close at the end of this year. So we hope to bring all sorts of interesting stuff along the way. Oh yeah, Luggy, Myland Depot closed. I guess a lot of the locomotives were scrapped and spread around the state in other ways. The National Railway Museum was located at Myland. It's now down at Port Adelaide. But there would have been a lot of steam locos lined up at Myland, and I doubt that all of them would have been preserved. G'day Joel, welcome aboard. Yeah, I think that part's really interesting. It's not a tourist train once it crosses the border. There is still quite a bit of money tipped in by the South Australian government as well to keep the service running. So this is not necessarily a for-profit service. So on that basis, I find it very confusing that it's being marketed as an experience, as a tourist train, which obviously benefits Journey Beyond Rail. You have to wonder how much. Tell you what, your champagne doesn't even rattle that much on the plane. By this stage of the journey, your phone's almost out of charge and there's no Wi-Fi anyway. And the country kind of looks the same for the next couple of hours. Justin, that would have been awesome to do a motorcycle lap of Tasmania. Basically riding around the entire map of Tasmania. That would have been bloody brilliant. And there's so many lines in Tasmania, so many closed lines. But I'm a South Aussie, based here in Adelaide, with still a limited budget. That may be improving as the year goes by, mind you, because subscriber numbers have just exploded in the last month or so, so hopefully that will continue, because that's essentially what funds a lot of these journeys. Right off the top of my head, Bruce, back in 2019 that was $160 for the premium service with meals. And I have to be honest too, we were all, my travelling party and I, we were all pretty happy when they finally let us off the bloody train in Melbourne. It's just because it was delayed until about 8 o'clock or something like that, and dinner's not part of the service. So again, twice in one day we were left hangry by the overland, which is not, not great propaganda really. So there you go. There's still something wrong and dark with my lighting at the moment. I'm just going to see if I can fix that in the software. Give me a minute. No. I'm just going to flick another light on. You know, there's just... I would love to cover Tassie too, but there's just so much to cover as well. So I was up in Coffs Harbour with my family, and I just wanted to share this one because I'd like to share different medias as well, right? So this is not necessarily the book of the week, but this is cut out from the Coffs Coast news. Those who follow me know that Coffs is pretty close to my heart. But this was a recent thing about Tallowood Ventures, and they're talking about being awarded rail safety accreditation from the ONRSR to run their 1919 steam engine. That's the number of the engine. I'm not sure it's the age of the engine. 1919 model, built in 1878, and you can see that one in my Glen Raider Dorigo video, which is the reason why I'm invested in this one. So last time I was there, they were still restoring the steam engine 1919. They were still laying tracks within the depot at that point in time. And here they're still laying tracks in the depot, but they hope to go a couple of kilometres out to what's called Tallowoodja Road near Tallowoodja Creek, if you want to look that up on maps and stuff from Glen Raider to Tallowoodja. I think it's only a K or so. But I'm still a little confused, even though I do get access to information like this. As to 100% as to what's going on, because I'm not local. So is it Glenray Mountain Railway or Tallowood who are now interested in making the railway line up to Loanna, I think, into a rail trail, which has actually raised more concerns with local landholders than restoring the rail would have done. Which is something that I've discussed over the years on this one here, because we've got plenty of rail trails here in South Australia. We have hiking trails that follow, that run through private property here by arrangement, and there just doesn't seem to be, I guess, some of that knowledge or expertise going around within the GMR or Tallowood. Maybe they need a bit of help with their stakeholder engagement, so to speak. So yeah, we showed that one, and then the book of the week. So Coffs Harbour, I visited the library. Noel's not here tonight, but I'm sure he'll replay it as well. And I met Belinda Lancy. So some of the videos that I've done on Coffs Harbour, the British Australian Tramway, the Glen Raider Dorigo video, and the rambles around Coffs Harbour Yards as well. That was put onto Coffs Collections and linked to Coffs Collections, which reminds me, I've got to send them the originals. I wasn't going to give them the originals to begin with, but I need to send those to them so they can actually link directly to them. And so it'd be my privilege to be part of, that region's heritage and linked to on their railways. But when I was making the Coffs Yard videos, I was really jealous because I couldn't seem to get access to this book in time. And that was this one. I've got to work out the right way to show the book covers on this one. Which light am I going to show it to so that everyone can actually see it? But that's Banana Coast Railway, Rails of the Coffs Coast, by Scott Shack. And both Noel and I were presented with a full copy of this at the library. They had some spare copies there in the library. So I've now got a bloody copy of this book, which is awesome. And I think you're right, Bruce. I think that's probably going to be the case. So if you were to catch the overland from, say, Dimboola, it'd be $10. But if you want to catch it from Adelaide, that's 160, bro. But this is awesome. It's got some really well-made maps in there. And in that you can see the British American Tramway just running up to Bruxner Gap. I'll try and keep it still from a little while there, but from Karora to Bruxner Gap. And that is a very steep piece of railway line that was very much worth researching. But I actually find this a really modern and really well laid out book. It is, you can see it a bit better there. It's really difficult to show this. I'm going to have to work out a better way to do this. But yeah, it's got a lot of space in it. It's got a few images in it. It really tries to stay visually pleasing at the same time as being ridiculously interesting as well. Let me see if I can find some of the photos in here, and I've seen a lot of these photos online, or I've been provided with some of these photos, but some of these photos as well are just things that you don't see anywhere online. Just gonna find some of them. Later model photos like these of the XPT in the 80s, or freight running through Coffs Harbour Station in the 80s. These are photos that you just don't see anywhere else, and really do belong here. Well, I've just lost my digital light over there. That's not good. So I wanted to give a shout out to Noel, who is obviously not here tonight. For some reason, all of my lights have nearly died. That is the fun of live streaming. Oh my god, what the hell? Let's turn that down. I don't know about you guys, but the last 3 days travelling between Adelaide and Coffs Harbour, man, has it been hot. Although I suppose I'm not worth complaining to you, Luke, about how bloody hot and humid it is. I think you can see how bloody hot and humid it is, and I don't deal with heat and humidity very well. Surprising that I'm managing to get out and about anywhere through summer. But now we're headed into autumn, and got plenty of plans coming up. I talked about that in previous live streams as well. Looking forward to having the Transport Action Network's video about the up-and-coming plans for tram lines on light rail around Adelaide. That one will be coming out soon. I'm working with Jeff Justice Noddle as well on the Last Station Master video, which will also be coming out soon. So a bit of storytelling there before we go back into the chasing old and abandoned railways, probably in May or June, when I'll head back to the Flinders again and start tracing the line north of Hawker, which I haven't done yet. Oh yeah, Jeremy, we're going to go through those photos of Mount Barker Junction. So let's see if they work this week, hey? Where's my slideshow gone? There it is. So let's see if I can do a bit of zooming in as well. Transform, fit to screen. Oh, well, that's not going to work. I need to get the size up a bit so y'all can see them properly too. There we go. I got it up a bit. Yeah. So yeah, I won't complain to you guys about the heat. Hey, maybe I need to live in Tasmania or something. That's a great question, Justin. I did have a number of train sets as a kid, but I never really had the space to settle in to a train set and make it something permanent. I had all sorts of ideas, cutting up foam and cutting up plywood and laying tracks together and all that kind of stuff. That was fun, but I never really had the shed space or anything sort of permanent enough to really, put a lot of effort into it. Besides, I tend to think sometimes that when I'm making these videos and I'm looking at all these images and I'm taking all this footage as well, I'm kind of, and I'm doing the mapping as well. The mapping is one of the things that I enjoy a bit as well, because it all comes together and it's a bit like I'm playing with my own digital train set, which I get to do everything. So let's see if the next one works. Yeah, okay. Slideshow, start that up. Maybe if I go properties, maybe I'm not using the right keys. I'm just going to flick it to automatic and see if it just does its thing automatically. God, no, it's doing slideshow fine on my screen. Oh, I'll have to figure out what's going on. Give me a minute. We'll see what we can work out. So I've got it coming from that folder. Oh, hang on. Now it's working. Alright, so if I switch it back to manual. Oh, look. That was weird. Oh, now it's just playing automatically. I don't want it to play automatically. I want it to just do the thing when I hit the button. Right. Okay. Let's just delete the whole thing and add the files instead, rather than the directory. Okie doke. That's very odd. This has never happened before. Transition over again. No, I got one habit, which is chasing old railways, and that's expensive enough. Wow, that's a real bugger. I've even got it in as individual images now. And the files, if I go to the folder, excuse the old man looks at screen as he kind of pretends to not know what he's doing with the internet all of a sudden. Yeah, they're all JPEGs. They're all normal. And I don't really want to go start Googling how to troubleshoot stuff while I'm live on the internet. Sorry, man, I didn't get to it this week. Obviously a little distracted with things. Always play when not visible, play on pause, transition fade. I think the best I can do at the moment is to just get it go into an automatic thing. Maybe I can give it a better... Yeah, it's got a long time. No, it's got a very short time between slides. So let's make it 224, 500 milliseconds between changes. We'll see if that works. That overhead gantry sitting in the grass. So hopefully now... Oh God, what's 24,500 milliseconds in timing? I don't know what that is. I haven't had the time to work it out. I'll do that quickly. 24,500 milliseconds in seconds. So it should be 25-second changes. Makes sense. Oh, well, there we go. At least we maybe got 25-second changes. So wait a little bit longer, and hopefully the next one will come up. JK's also got images of the... There you go, finally changing. The guards vans. Yeah, that's really interesting. I think signalling and safety standards over the years probably took care of guards vans, and probably salaries probably took care of guards vans as well. I still remember guards vans as well, and then I was surprised, and all they had on the end of a train was a flashing light. And I don't think half the time they even have the flashing bloody light. So we got that one playing by Auto at the moment. So yeah, that's the gantry sitting there. And it's coming up in the next shot. Yeah, Drew had a good explore around that station. he's got an excellent channel going there. And it's great to see when somebody else with a different perspective comes into a similar location and has a look around. Drew's more inclined to go in behind fences and stuff like that than I am. Is probably the way I would describe the difference between him and me. Whereas I tend to stay behind the signs and stay behind the fences, even if the fences are all kicked down and it doesn't, you know what I mean, like people just go in and out, but and trust me, I do, but I just don't publish it. What we might have been looking at just before, and it looked like a pen or something like that, like an animal pen, or it just looked like, I didn't even know what it was, JK. I think it's just come up now on screen. So that is the old overhead signal gantry, which I guess used to be in place. What year was this? What year were these images taken roughly, JK? And you can see when they basically removed added another track there at Mount Barker Junction as a passing loop to the main interstate line. And you can see the old broad gauge line when it was still kind of connected to the main line, which is now, and you'll see in my recent video about the Hills line, it's no longer connected. I did a quick video on Mount Barker Junction to Mount Barker as well, which I had a look around, and you can see now that that broad gauge line's been completely disconnected. It still would be great if they could run the short junction joggers, I think they used to call it, at Steam Ranger, and they used to run a rail car from Mount Barker to Mount Barker Junction. Not sure why they don't do it these days. There would have to be a good reason why, in terms of perhaps a track falling into too much disrepair for it to be for it to be reasonably rectified. So yes, we've done all that. That was my visit to Coffs Harbour. Sadly, I didn't get time to do a live stream because basically it rained the entire time that I was there. But it was great to be back there in town. As I said, got a few more videos coming up. I'm going to get my head down into After Effects and continue to animate and continue to work on this Transport Action Network. So hopefully that will be out in the next few weeks. You never know sometimes. That Merino to Glenelg railway line idea had been rattling around in my head for years and years and years, and then finally I got the key to sort of unlock the story that I told in that video at least. Yeah. Right. Go back to Magic Window. The Magic Window is back. Oop, I've got to remember to turn the sound down so I'm not competing with the Magic Window. Where are we? Got all sorts of things going on the screen now. So we have been going, I managed to keep it going for half an hour, which is kind of what I say, you know, it's a half-hour live stream every Wednesday night at 8:15 p.m. The reason I do it that way is that you don't need a schedule and you don't need to keep an eye on the channel for when I do go randomly live from time to time, and that's great if you're on board. But this way, it's just here at 8:15 p.m. every Wednesday night to present history. Again, I always invite anyone who's on the chat to please send me stuff and suggest stuff for me to look at. Send me images like Jeremy does as well, and suggest things that I might go and look at or perhaps research a little bit to bring to the chat for next week. So without further ado, I cut that one off and whoops, I go over to that one. It's been great to have you all on board again. Thanks to the regulars. We've got Jeremy on board, the producer of the show. We've got Luke's Fishing in the Northern Territory, representing the land of freedom and vast open spaces. We've got Luggy 111. Thanks for joining us on board, man. It's great to have you on board. Justin Miller as well. If you can think of any questions for me, please just always fire away and let us know. We've had Bruce C on board. We've had Joel Taggart as well. Always happy to offer and share information. I think I learn a lot more from the participants in the chat room than y'all might learn from me. I suspect it's a two-way thing, but probably more weighted towards me learning more. Who else have we had on board? we've had Dave on board, we've had Steve Klink on board. As always, really appreciate your ongoing support, Steve. Keep an eye out for more things across the week. You just never know when I'm going to pop up, but I'll definitely pop up at 8:15 p.m. next Wednesday. Until then, peace.